And I'm Derek.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Listen, I know that has been a while, and that's why we are here. We are here to give you a life update. If you have been following me on Instagram or Facebook, then you know that God has brought us through some things. And also, I have been telling you that I will share with you when the time is right. Guess what? The time is right. So, if you want to hear more about our testimony and what God has done, keep watching. All right, so this is going to be as transparent as possible. And we're going to just start by talking. Yeah. First of all, definitely want to thank God that I am still here. Thank God that for my family, especially thank God for my husband.
Amen.
I thank God for it all. I thank him for the experience. I thank him for the testimony. I thank him for showing up. I thank him for answering our prayers, and I thank him for saving my life. So last year, the last quarter of 2023, I started feeling some pain, like some extreme pain in my leg, and it was unbearable. But I was still doing my day-to-day, going to work, still doing all of the things, that you do, just pushing through it. And this went on for probably about a week.
Yeah, it's a few weeks.
Yeah, it went on for about like a week or so. Like a week or so. Because if I'm in pain, like I would start complaining about it. I would start telling, and that's what I started. I started telling Dad, like, Dad, my leg is hurting. Like it is literally hurting. And the type of work that I do is that I have to bend, I have to lift. I do a lot of walking, and I could barely walk. And so I was just like, something is not right. And so we tried soaking in the bathtub, putting ice packs on it, putting heating pads on it, and nothing was working. Like this pain would not go away.
But it didn't last like the entire week. It got worse as I guess the more physical you were at work.
Yeah, it started and it got worse, pretty much. Like it got to the point where it felt like I was carrying weight. It was like my leg was just heavy to me. Mm-hmm. And so.
Which leg was it?
It was my left leg.
Yeah.
And so it was like I was just carrying weight around, like it was just heavy. And so one weekend, I took off work. One day I took off work, and then the next day I was just laying in the bed. I couldn't walk. I couldn't move, and I was just like, we have to go get it checked out. And so we went.
Yeah, we went to urgent care.
Yeah, we went to the urgent care first, and but before we went to the urgent care, I was laying in the bed. And the Lord told me, I still have more work for you to do. Let's start the healing process. I didn't know what he was talking about. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. And that same day, Derek asked me, do you want to go to the doctor? I was like, yes, let's go. And that was on a Sunday, actually. Yeah. Yep, it was on a Sunday. And we went to the urgent care. And even before the end, I asked Derek about blood clots, and they were like, no, don't be thinking that, don't be thinking that. And I was like, I was just just wondering what does that feel like, because I didn't know. But we went to the urgent care. We walked in, we seen the nurse or whatnot, and she looked and she told us to go to the emergency room. Like she prescribed some type of pain medication, and she was like, because the pain was like in my inner thighs and in the back of my leg, and my leg was swollen. And so she was like, go to the emergency room and, just to get them to scan and see, just to make sure that it wasn't, blood clots or anything like that. And I was like, okay. So, we grabbed something to eat first, of course. And then we went to the hospital. Went to the emergency room.
We did. We went to get something to eat?
Yes, Derek.
Okay. It's just like a blur. Yeah, it was a blur.
So then we went to the emergency room. They did, the scan and all of that. And they asked me the different questions once we got into the room regarding how I was feeling and all of that. And so they did she put the IV first or did she do the scan?
IV first.
Oh yeah. So she did the IV first, and doctors came in and did the scans. They did the scans, and then after the scan, the doctor came back and he said, "You can't go anywhere."
Pause. All right. We'll go back from the urgent care, our visit at urgent care, the way you felt while you were there. What was your emotional state with the pain? What were you thinking? Because I was thinking maybe it was like your sciatic nerve.
Yeah,
because you were having some lower back pain and excruciating pain going down your legs. So, that's what I was thinking the whole time. And it was a possibility because those are some of the symptoms.
Yeah. During that time visiting at the urgent care, I don't know what I was thinking. Like I wasn't thinking the worst. Of course not. I was just wanting to know what was this pain. Like why was my leg hurting like this? And I also was holding on to what God spoken to me was that I still have more work for you to do. And let's start this healing process. Like I was still holding on to that, but I just didn't know what to expect. And that's how I was feeling. Like I wasn't feeling afraid. I was concerned.
Yeah,
more concerned than anything.
Yeah. That's understandable.
Yeah. Back to when the doctor walked in and said, "You can't go anywhere." And I kind of just, looked at him like, okay, why I can't? Yeah, why can't I?
Something, and then I'm for the pain,
right? Like,
we can go.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Like, give me something in the pain, and it'll go. But he was like, no, you can't go anywhere. He asked me. He said, "Have you did a long traveling? Have you been
are you like a smoker?
Are you a smoker?" He like, do you have any short of breath? Do you like all of these questions? And I'm like, no. And he was like, "You have." Well, he said a long blood clot in your leg.
Yeah, it's called a DVT or a deep thrombus, DVT, deep vein thrombus.
I had 2 blood clots in my lung, and that's called PE.
Yeah, pulmonary embolism.
Yes.
Bam, got it, I know.
Oh my God. And so, with the blood clots in my leg and the 2 blood clots in my lung, we was not checking out of the hospital. They was amazed that I was still alive, pretty much. They couldn't tell how long it'd been there. They couldn't tell any of that. And so that's when we checked in to the hospital. That was Labor Day weekend, September 2023. So we in the hospital. They running more tests, of course, and I'm still in this moment. Now I'm in shock. I'm barely speaking. I'm barely talking, because I'm trying to wrap my head around all of this because I didn't know where to go with it, and so I'm just listening. I'm just listening, and also in the back of my mind, I know that God got me, and so they got me into a room. I'm listening to what the doctors are saying. Like I'm hearing them, but I'm not hearing them. But before I actually went into the room, another doctor came in. This particular doctor touched my stomach area, and she asked me, she said, "Have your stomach always been bloated like this? Has it always looked like this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it have always looked like that." And so she just said, "Okay." She said, "We're gonna do a scan on your stomach." I said, "Okay, cool." And And so by this time, that's, when they had told us the news about, the blood clots being in my leg and my lungs. And now I am in a stage of shock. I'm processing, I'm listening to what they are saying, and I'm hearing them, but I'm not hearing them because I'm just like, wow. So during that time, after they have told us this, what are you thinking?
Kind of like, because it just happened like fast.
Yeah.
And when it happened in like bam, 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 I couldn't really process like what was going on. I knew like, okay, this is what's happening, but as far as where do we go from here? Because this is a different ground that we have treaded on, so we had to learn as we go. It's a different feel, but kind of the same way, just kind of like, okay. Yeah. But the whole time, I didn't feel like broken down, just like it was a terrible feeling, but not terrible thoughts. Yeah. And I knew the Lord was with us the whole time. Like,
yeah. And so, yeah. And even in that moment, like, it was shock, but it wasn't fear. Mm-hmm. It was still just shock and listening. This time, and this is the first time like I have ever been like in a hospital. Like Derek was saying, everything just happened so fast. Like it was like I went to the urgent care, then I left the urgent care, then I went to the hospital, and they ran these tests, and they found the blood clots in my leg, in my lungs, and now I'm in this hospital room for about 2 to 3 days, and they're doing all of these scans. They scanned everything, and then I had to go inside this donut. What is it called?
It was a CT scan and MRI.
Yes, so I had to go into the CT scan and MRI. So I'm hearing all of these medical terms and stuff, things that they're talking about on a day-to-day basis, and I'm hearing them. And this time,
listen to me, okay.
And this time it is pertaining to me. And so, hearing all of this for the first time, like watching these doctors go in and out, watching these nurses come in and out, and it's one particular nurse like this the first night there, because now I'm in this room and now I'm starting to feel terrified. Now I'm starting to be like, okay, like how are we gonna fix this? Like what do I have to do? And Derek had to leave to go get some clothes, because now we staying overnight. And so I call this nurse like an angel, because he sat in the room and he talked to me to the time Derek got back. And when I'm telling you, y'all, I wasn't processing anything. I was silent, and I was just talking to God in my mind. I was just talking, like all of my questions I was asking inside of my head. And for some reason it wasn't coming out of my mouth, but I'm asking. Like I want to ask these questions, but I just can't get it out. But this nurse, he stayed in this room. Every time I thought of a question, he answered it. Like he was answering the questions as if he was literally in my mind. And in that moment, I knew God was there. I knew.
Yeah. It's okay. Oh, look at God.
I knew he was present. I knew he was there, and I knew that he didn't leave me alone. So as I'm sitting here thinking all these questions, and this nurse answering every question that I had, and I mean, he's answering them, and I'm not even saying anything out loud. And after I finished talking to him, I felt a sense of peace. I was relaxed. I was calm. And so I knew God had sent him in the room to let me know that he's right here. He will never leave me, nor will he forsake me. So now it's time to go through some more testings, some more scans. And so they scanned my heart. They did all these things. And so now they have to scan my stomach. And we wasn't expecting what was next. So the doctor came back in. He said, I got good news and I got bad news. He said, what do you want first? What did he say?
I like those two words. I don't like to hear the good news. We were like, good news.
Yeah.
We went with the good news first.
We went with the good news.
Mm-hmm.
He said they found, first he said they found masses on my stomach. That was the bad news, he said.
Mm-hmm.
The good news was that he didn't believe it was cancerous. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't the fear of something was wrong. It was the fear of, will we be able to have kids? Like, what if I can't have kids? What would that look like? Like, and so when he said that they found that, and he came in, very doctor mode, and then he walked out, and I went into a praise. I started worshiping God that the doggone, because I was on also the little heart monitor thing, and they was monitoring. So my heart was going up because I was praising and I was worshiping God. Because if you're going to fight in the spirit, you got to fight through worship and praise. Sometimes words not enough. Sometimes you got to worship and praise your way through, especially when you're not understanding what is happening. I didn't understand why the masses was on my stomach. I didn't even know in my stomach. I didn't even know what was that. Like I just thought my stomach was big.
I mean, it was.
But yeah, but I just thought, I didn't think anything was wrong. Mm-hmm. And so then I had to see another doctor about that. And so this doctor came in before we got ready to check out. And this when they told me that I would have to have surgery. Now that scared me. That I was very fearful about. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was terrified because everything was just going through my mind. And that is when the test really started.
From you, feel like you've lost your way. Yeah. Don't give up, no, don't give in. Never lose hope, don't let go of the promise. It ain't done, yeah, he's got a plan. Watch him rain down, got a miracle.
So at this moment, they told me that I have to have surgery. And now I am terrified. When they told us that we have to stay in the hospital, and you had to leave to go get some clothes because we didn't have anything. We wasn't expecting to stay. How did you feel like on your way to the house to come and pack a bag and knowing that, we'll have to stay probably a couple of days in the hospital? What was going through your head as you was, and you leaving me? And you leaving me in the hospital because it was like 9:00 at night.
And I was like, well, I didn't want to leave, of course, but we needed some clothes. We had to. Overnight clothes, some pajamas. Didn't want to stay, get a little comfortable since we're gonna be there. But what I was thinking is like, I wasn't in a mindset of fear. I knew the Lord had these people, the medical staff in place to take care of and address your needs. Mm-hmm. It was all orchestrated by God. He has lined those people up to be able to catch this in time before matters got worse, God forbid. But at the whole time I was just thanking God. Mm-hmm. I was thanking God for showing that to us. That way we can get it taken care of, and they can let us know what's going on the whole way through. And just that's mainly what I was thinking, and like what you were going through, and then when I came home and got back, I see your whole demeanor had changed. You wasn't in the state of like shock.
Mm-hmm.
You were
Yeah.
more like receptive of what was happening. You was more aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, because God had spoke life into you by that time. So, maybe I needed to step out.
Yeah.
And come to the house. That way he can come
intervene.
have his alone time with each one of us.
Yeah.
So he needed to talk to us in our own way.
Yeah.
And that way, when we came back together,
we can give each other strength.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so-
true. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
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 That's a good, yeah. And so after we found out, about the blood clots, I reached out to, they reached out to our family and everybody, began to pray. We are a praying family. You best to believe that.
Oh, yeah.
So now the scan that came back, with the for the the stomach area and and all of that, and they was like, you will have to have surgery within a couple of months to get the masses removed off of your stomach area. And so I'm like, no. I'm like, no. Like, I am not going on anesthesia. You're not cutting me. You're not, like, when I tell you, every thought that you could possibly have probably went through my mind. And when I tell you, it put a bondage of fear over me because I was afraid. I thought about this surgery, and they told me this in September. The surgery wasn't until December. Like, they actually had to call and schedule the surgery with me. So by them telling me this in December, the blood clots they're like, we give you some blood thinners and they'll be dissolved within 3 to 6 months. I was like, okay, this is the healing journey the Lord was talking about. No, that wasn't it. That was part of it, but it wasn't all of it. And so I was like, Lord, I don't want to go through no surgery. I don't want nobody to cut on me. I don't want to be put under anesthesia. Like, I'll be on these blood thinners. They got to do surgery. Like, what would that look like? I mean, all of the questions are coming through my head. Mm-hmm. And so, we done, thank God they caught that in time and everything was good. And we checked out the hospital. But and we was going back, we was resuming life. I was off work for a couple of weeks and went back to work. And I started walking better. I started feeling better because, now we know what was what, and God had spared my life. And I'm still here, and I'm still thanking God for that. And in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking about this surgery that I have to have. And so now I'm feeling fearful. Now I'm journaling, I'm praying to God and asking God can you do this supernaturally? Can you remove, because what they said they believe it was fibroids. And I said, Lord, can you remove this supernaturally? Can they do it the laser way? Like, I am literally.
Will they shrink? Can
they shrink? Like, Lord, can they shrink it and be removed? Like, I am believing God for a miracle. The miracle where it does not require me to be cut on. That is the miracle I was believing God for. The idea of having to have that surgery started to fill my mind. And I was going through it. I was going through it mentally. I was full of fear. I was like, I don't know about this. And everybody telling me that I have to do it. And everybody telling me that it needs to be done. And I'm like, God, but what you thinking? Like, God, why it has to be done? And the fear was just taking over. It was to the point where I wasn't eating as much. I was very consumed with fear. And I was talking to, some trusted people, my mom, my aunt, Derek, and a couple of people at work. I was talking that are believers that believe God. And this one particular lady at work, she said, Tiffany, that's nothing but fear. She said, fear is trying to take a hold of you. And she said, we got to break it. And so she asked me, could she pray with me? And could she also have her prayer partners pray for me? And I was like, yes. I'm like, I would love that. Because I was trying, the thing was, I was feeling so afraid, but I am a woman of faith. Like, I believe in the impossible. I believe God to do the miracles. But here I am in fear. And so I was trying to deal with it by myself, going to God, doing my prayer time, praying to God, asking him, seeking his face, but it was something that I couldn't break by myself. It was something that I couldn't do by myself alone. So I had to grab hands with other believers. I had to say, look, y'all, this time I need help. I need somebody to stand in the gap with me and for me. Yeah. And there was time that I would wake up in the middle of the night crying.
Oh yeah.
I would be crying in the middle of the night. Or I can just be laughing and talking to Derek, and next thing you know, I'm in tears because I'm thinking about this surgery that I have to have. And it was mentally weighing on me. And I was speaking the word, and the only thing I knew was to speak the word and pray. And I kept my mind staying on Jesus. I started listening to worship music. God put people in place to pray with me, to pray for me, to minister to me, to even listen to me when I needed to be encouraged. And then, like, he even had people to help me to get myself together. That's my auntie.
Yeah. But look, it was definitely a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't something that, you know, you had to go through it.
Yeah.
You had to mentally prepare. It was getting people in place, so you can be in a place.
Yeah.
To, you know,
to accept
go to the next step.
Yeah.
To accept it.
Yeah. It came down to me accepting the fact that I had to have surgery, and also coming into agreement with the way that God wanted it done. I'm gonna say it again. I had to accept the fact that I had to have surgery, and I also had to come into agreement with the way that God wanted it done. See, one thing Derek told me, he said, Tiffany, he said, God also worked through people. Because I was believing God to do it supernatural. Like, I'll be asleep and he just,
and it can.
You know,
it can't be done.
And it can't be done like that. He can literally do that. Yeah. He can do that. And that's why I was believing him to do how to perform this miracle. But that's not the way he wanted it done. And so I started reading the scriptures about, he was telling me, I'm always going to do what's best for my kids. I'm going to do what's best for you. You may not understand it now, but later you will. And so as I came into agreement with the way God wanted it done, like my auntie was praying for me. My mom was praying for me. And one day, my aunt called. It was on FaceTime. We hardly talk on FaceTime. And she called on FaceTime and she went to praying. And I felt God moving. And in that moment, the fear broke.
Hallelujah. It broke.
It broke. And this was probably a month before the surgery date. Yeah, probably a month before. Yeah. It was a few weeks before. And I had a peace that I couldn't even explain, that I knew it was nobody but God. And I said, okay, Lord, in order to get my miracle, I have to go through this, but I know that you are with me. And when I finally came in agreement with him, and he broke that bondage of fear off of me, and I can see properly, because when you are fearful, you're blind. You can't see anything. The only thing you see is what you're afraid of. But God said, I didn't give you the spirit of fear. I gave you the power of love and a sound mind. So if you already know, if God didn't give you the fear, then the fear is from the enemy. See, if I would have let fear stop me from having the surgery, then I wouldn't be in a position today to have kids. I wouldn't be in a position to do what God has called me to do. When I came into agreement with God, I felt a sense of peace.
Just lifted.
Yeah, it was just like
liberation.
Yeah, I felt free, and I said, "Okay, God." I said, "Let's go. Let's go do it. Let's go get it done." And my surgery was scheduled for December the 20th, 5 days before Christmas. And so we had to be there like at 5:30.
Yeah, we had to be there at 5:30.
5:30 that morning.
And the surgery was at 7.
7, yes.
7 a.m.
And so, because before the piece, I've been crying so much. And so, now we was on our way to the surgery. And I was cooler than a cucumber. I was fine because I knew that God would take care of me.
He was already
there. He had already had the people in place.
Yeah.
And
He had already spoken to you.
Yeah, he already spoken
to ease your thoughts, your spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he showed up. He really showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And so during that time, seeing me go through that mental challenge, going through that, struggling with fear, struggling with like crying and hurting and just all over the place mentally, how did that make you feel?
Well, you know, as your husband, you know.
No, don't you say.
Yeah. That's I'm that guy. Yeah. So I have a feeling of like protection. You know, you come to me like when you want to feel safe. I mean, a safe place. You know, but I can only do so much.
Right.
You know, there's certain things that I'm not capable of. You know, I'm not capable of, you know, like relinquishing that fear from you.
Right.
Yeah, there's something. There's certain things. There's a small amount of things. I can't even. There's not much at all I can do.
Yeah.
But God can do it all.
That's true.
He can do it all. He can take care of that fear. He can heal you. He can bring you up that to now where you're able to speak to people about our experience, the testimony, and how He has brought you through.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, but pray. You know, go to God.
Yeah.
Go to God. Like it's no joke. You know, we didn't write the book of life. He did.
Yeah, that's
He made
true.
life. We didn't do it. We were just used.
Yeah. And so December the 20th, I had the surgery. Of course, it was successful.
Yeah.
And
thank God.
And God, he showed up. He showed up for us. He did exactly what He said He would do. And when this started, He gave me a verse, and I held on to this verse. It was Luke chapter 1, verse 45. It says, "And blessed is she that believe, for there shall be a performance of those things which were told to her from the Lord." So He gave me that verse September the 14th. I didn't know what type of journey I was about to be on, but I knew it was a faith journey. And I knew that I would have to hold on to what I believe in, what I teach all the time, what I speak about. And I had to hold on to His hand. So even in the midst of me crying, I knew that He was going to show up. I knew that He was still there because I still believed. I was just afraid. And now the surgery has happened. I am the healthiest I ever been. I am healed. And God is still God. And He has been
Still
good.
Healing.
And I'm still healing. I'm still on the road of recovery. But I am healed.
Yeah.
I am whole. I am healthy. I am secured. I am God's miracle. I am His daughter. I am His child. I am His mouthpiece. I am God's miracle. And if you don't get anything else out of this video, I want you to get that God is God, and He will always be God. He's our healer. He's our deliverer. He's our Father. He's our peacemaker. He's our waymaker. He's our provider. He's Jehovah Jireh. He is God. And there's nothing is too hard for God. If He did it for me, He can do it for you. Your situation may not be anything concerning with your health. It may not be fear. I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, know that God got it. And He can do it. And He will perfect everything that is concerning you.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you want to say?
I mean, on top of that, God is, there's nothing that can compare to Him. Whatever it is, it's already taken care of. That's how I see it.
Yeah, whatever it is.
You take it to him, and he'll take care of it.
He'll take care of it.
Yep.
That's it. And I am so thankful. I am so grateful for what God has done in our life. I am so grateful and thankful to still be here, to still have many more years with my husband,
Amen.
to be able to bring in our kids, to be able to have kids.
Yeah.
That opportunity was not stolen from me.
Mm-hmm.
See, God blocked what the devil tried to do. He spared my life. God spared my life. He healed me. He saved me. And I am so thankful to still be here. Mm-hmm. A lot of things have changed. Perspectives have shifted. But we're on another journey. And this time, God is leading the way.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you enjoy what you watch, share it with a friend. Share it with someone who needs encouraging. Share it with someone who needs to be strengthened in their faith. Because from here on out on YouTube, our mission and our goal is to point you right back to Jesus. Talk to you soon.
Jesus over fear.